Let's start with breaking news just coming in. The U.S. has agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran. President Donald Trump says he's suspending bombing of Iran for 2 weeks. The condition is that Tehran completely reopens the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the 2-week period would be used to negotiate a larger agreement to potentially end the war. Trump says it is a double-sided ceasefire. Iran has also agreed to pause. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has confirmed that Iran will halt attacks if attacks against it stop. He said that safe transit in the Strait of Hormuz will be possible for 2 weeks, and this is going to be via coordination with Iranian armed forces. According to a White House official, Israel has also agreed to the ceasefire and will also suspend its strikes. The same official said that the ceasefire will come into force when Iran opens the Strait of Hormuz. However, the U.S. military has already paused strikes inside Iran. Earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump took to his Truth Social to announce that the 2-week pause will take place, and the post came just an hour before his deadline to start catastrophic attacks against Iran. In his post, Trump added that they are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran and peace in the Middle East. He said that U.S. has received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believes it is a workable basis on which to negotiate. The U.S. president claimed that almost all of the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the United States and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. The announcement came after Pakistan made a last-minute proposal to avert massive U.S. attacks on Iran. Iran has said that negotiations with the United States will be held in Islamabad to finalize the details. And Iran says that the talks will begin Friday, which is April 10th, and may be extended if both sides agree. Iran says the 10-point proposal included controlled transit through the Strait of Hormuz, coordinated with Iranian armed forces, ending war against Iran and allied groups, withdrawal of U.S. combat forces from all regional bases. And Iran says talks with U.S. do not mean an end of war. Iran says it will only accept war's conclusion once details are finalized in line with the 10-point plan. And for more on this, we are now being joined by our correspondent Susan Tehrani on the phone line. Susan, we're still getting fragments of information. What is the clearest understanding right now from Washington about what has been actually agreed between the United States and Iran?
So it appears that because we have been hearing reports of Iranian attacks against Israel and the sirens that we heard in Saudi Arabia and the UAE, there is an understanding now that the ceasefire is expected to start later tonight. So they were very clear in saying that. The Americans wanted to say that on their part because there were reports of these attacks by Iran. And I think the next step now is whether Iran will open the Strait of Hormuz as it has promised to do so. But for now, we're getting fragments of information from not only the Democrats, but also Republicans like Lindsey Graham as well. If you'd like, I can share part of what he wrote. He said that I prefer diplomacy if it leads to the right outcome regarding the Iranian terrorist regime. I appreciate the hard work of all involved in trying to find a diplomatic solution. But it's interesting that Graham now also wants a congressional review process, even during this 2 weeks. He said, at this early stage, I am extremely cautious regarding what is fact versus fiction or misrepresentation. That's why a congressional review process, like the one the Senate followed to test the Obama-Iranian deal, is a sound way forward. So they want fair, challenging questions, basically, and a full opportunity for the Trump administration to come in front of Congress and explain what has happened so far, because there has been so much noise in the media about what really transpired, not only during these last few weeks, but also what does this ceasefire, as you rightly asked, really entail? And how firm is it for it to hold up for the entire 2 weeks? I think that's what the skepticism is.
Absolutely, Susan, and that is the question on everybody's mind, and President Trump has said that this pause comes after achieving military objectives. Now, from what you're hearing, is this being framed inside the administration as a strategic success, or perhaps a necessary pause under pressure here?
Yeah, I think that's just the best way to put it. A necessary pause would be the best thing to say it. On the one hand, the United States continues to say that it has had enormous success in dismantling Iran's ballistic missile programs and hitting the targets that it had to. On the other hand, you have really an American public that's weary of this war. And the reason for that is not only the risk of more American troops' lives being lost and the risk of a forever war, or one of those forever wars that America has seen, just America being bogged down in the Middle East for many years to come, despite the fact that the Trump administration says this isn't the case, but also because of gas prices. You have a segment of the society, which is a small segment, I must say, that is following the news of Iran every single day. They're online, they listen to the reports, they listen to all of the news bulletins and whatnot. But then you have a large swath of America as you move towards middle America. They're just living their lives right now, and what they see is going to pump gas and saying, what in the world is going on? Why are my gas prices so high? This is not what President Trump promised when he got elected. So, it eases the markets. It was a necessity, really, to give a pause, a breathing room for the administration. It's also tax season here right now. The administration wants to play up some of its economic success in an election midterm year. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is that, at the end of the day, Trump is a deal maker. He may think that there is some kind of path forward, a light at the end of the tunnel for negotiations right now with these new people that are within the regime that are negotiating with him. But I think it's very premature to think that America has packed up its bags and left. I think he has his finger on the trigger, and it's just a very fragile ceasefire, and the war could erupt any day.